Hi! Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I don't. Wait, no, I do care. I care. I very much care. I care. We're gonna talk about curses. Today we're talking about curses because protecting yourself from curses is a whole thing. And if you've never done it before or like looked into or thought about how or should you protect your you little bug. Funny. If you've never thought of like, if you don't protect yourself, then you're just open, aren't you, to whatever the fuck is floating around. So basically, you need to protect yourself. Long story short, you need to protect yourself. So how do you do that? Well, firstly, you need to know where the danger is, right? And I feel like I spoke about this before in one of my other videos, the irony of life, yeah. And like things like safety is just a feeling. So it's not like you can't buy a can of safety and then you're safe. Safety is kind of like once you decide you're safe, you're like not safe anymore because your guard is down because you think you're safe, and then you're in the most danger. So life just fucks you like that, right? So in terms of how can you actually be safe, how can you actually protect yourself, is mainly by being present. Magic is really like mostly about presence, probably. Hey Rocky, don't, because I'm like trying to make a video and you make it really stressful. Yeah, I feel you. He bites his feet and it's not good. The dog needs some protection. Anyway, the protection. So protection magic is very simple, really. You need to keep your energy clean. You need to keep your awareness, and this is quite, I don't really like that. That's better. The important things to know, right? Number one is one of the biggest dangers to yourself is yourself. The person who's most likely to curse you is you. Because the way that curses work is, one, someone directs energy at someone else or something. You can like store a curse in an item. This is a difficult thing to do. You'd have to really like fuck around to find out how to do that, but it's possible, right? Everything is energy if you believe it. That two, really a curse, you need to believe it for it to have power. It doesn't mean that if you don't believe in curses, you're never going to be cursed. It just means that you have no control over who does or doesn't curse you and how, you just have no control, because if you don't believe in it, doesn't mean you can't be cursed. It just means that you will never have the awareness of it, and therefore you can never remove it. So some people will just be like, oh, I'm just an unlucky person. No, you're probably cursed, or you're probably cursing yourself on a regular basis, and you just have no fucking idea. So you're just going to carry on with your silly little life thinking that you're not being cursed or cursing yourself, and just thinking that your life is just shit, or you're unlucky, or yeah. Anyway, magic is real. So what else? Yeah, so you're mainly probably going to curse yourself. The way curses work is mainly like, it's a spoken word thing. So it's a transfer of energy. So it doesn't have to necessarily, like, if you really, 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 really fucking hate someone and you think bad, awful thoughts about them all the time, you can be cursing them in your head. So that is how a curse works. A curse is a bad thought, a bad word, a bad energy moving from one place to another. And, oh, what is this here? Oh. So ways that people curse themselves is things like, oh, I'm so tired. Or worse, or worse one would be like, oh, I'm so lazy. Or, oh, I'm just such a shit person. Things like this. It's like a ripple effect. So your words will impact the cells in your the water molecules in your body. And then it doesn't necessarily happen instantly, but somewhere along the line, this sentence will, it will, the energy has left you. So it will play out then in reality somewhere along the line. You don't really necessarily, if you don't have the awareness, then you're not going to know when or how. So this is like when people do curse intentionally, and they say that you shouldn't curse or hex people because whatever you put out comes back times 3. But the more I practice and the more I learn, and the more history I learn, the more I practice, the more I realize that actually everything is important. So it's not wrong to curse or hex people. You just need to be incredibly intentional and understand that something will come back. And so you either have to be ready to transmute it, but you just most certainly have to be ready to accept it and to hold it. Otherwise it just becomes a game of ping pong, and like each time that negativity hits someone and gets reverberated, it just gets more power and becomes more impactful, and then someone has a very serious accident somewhere along the line. So words are just like, I feel like I'm probably going to bang on about it all the time, but words, and I don't like the word but, I feel like I'm going to bang on about it all the time, and that's because it's important. Words are so important. They have so much power, and we're literally taught at school. I remember them writing it on a board. I remember it being like on a thing in the assembly hall: sticks and stones will break my bones, but names can never hurt me. Words can never hurt me. Like someone calling you a name, okay, like if someone's like, oh, you're a bitch, this is essentially a curse. But it's like, again, you have to believe it for it to have power. So if your self-awareness is strong enough, it kind of becomes a shield. If your self-esteem, if your self-worth is all strong enough, these are all sort of shields, not walls, but shields of protection with love. So there's a difference between like having having walls up so no one can get in and you can't connect with anyone, to having such a sense of yourself, being so aware of yourself, being so just being so self-aware. Then you have this shield that if someone's like, oh, you're a bitch, it's just going to bounce straight back off you and probably directly go back to sender, because you have done the work to protect yourself. And protecting yourself isn't like having a weapon on you or being a cunt to other people before they get a chance. It's not tearing people down or making people afraid of you or anything like that. It's simply knowing yourself, and like I said, it just bounces back off you then. So but let's say somebody knows you really well, and they know, because we all have trauma, we all have wounds, we all have little things throughout our life, that doesn't matter how strong your awareness is or how strong your sense of self-worth is, that there'll always be things that maybe really, really hurt you, really deeply hurt you when they're said. And not everyone will know about these things. Some people will stumble upon it accidentally. But the people who you really love and really love you will know these things about you. So like friends, families, lovers especially, will say things that, and they might not be doing it on purpose to hurt you, but it's just a thing, and another conversation for another time. But they can say something like, a little deeper than, oh, you're a bitch. And that might not bounce off because there's a gap. They know that gap in your armor, in your shield, and therefore it sort of gets in, and then it gets into your head, it gets into your inside, and you start to feel it, and then you need to alchemize it. Otherwise you're just going to start spitting fire and send curses back, threefold. So yeah, curses is, I guess, it's really as complex as it is. No, it's not. Sorry, that's as simple as it is. So that's like the basic way to protect yourself is know yourself, spend time with yourself, be yourself, stand strong in yourself. And in the beginning, if these aren't practices that you're used to, it can be kind of awkward, and you have to figure out what does work and what doesn't work, and what really is you and what isn't you, and like what have you picked up from other people or the TV or just whatever external things. What's not coming from you isn't you. Seems to make sense. Maybe not. And then, so the next level up to that when it comes to protecting yourself is you can use tools. The earth offers many gifts for protection. I mean, if we were like way back in the day when we were just like living like fairies in the woods, then, we had trees for protection and natural things like that. But in terms of nowadays, you can use things like salt, and salt is cleansing and it's symbolic, and I think everybody understands, when you taste salt, when you're in salty water, like it needs no explanation of the power that salt has, of the power of change when you cook with it. Like cooking and potion making are really one and the same kind of thing. So yeah, salt is like, it needs no explanation. We all know the magic of salt. So when you use that and intentionally do things like sprinkle it along the doorways and in your home, and you use it to cleanse items, like if you've bought something from a charity shop, or if you've bought a crystal, like anything that can has maybe been around and absorbed a lot of energy, when you put it in a bowl of salt, then the salt like sucks out all of the energy and cleans it. So you're so cute. So salt is a great tool. And then things like black pepper, again, if we think about black pepper and how it makes us feel and how it tastes and how it smells, it's a very sort of expelling, it's like fiery, it's heat, it makes you sneeze, so it's like pushes away, it banishes. So salt and pepper are great tools for protection. Mugwort is a herb that is used for protection. So you can do things like drink mugwort tea and have mugwort baths, or make mugwort skin products, use it in spell work. And there are so many things. Crystals, there are lots of crystals. Again, connecting dots in life, when you think about the color black, how it absorbs, how it, it hides things. It's an absorptive color. It absorbs the heat from the sun. And so when you have a black crystal, again, they're very absorptive. So they can soak up negative energy, whatever that may be to you. Yeah, so there are many tools that you can use to help protect yourself, but again, they're all a little bit irrelevant without a lot of self-awareness and strong intentions, and self-understanding. Radical honesty is such a great way to protect yourself, actually. I feel like I missed that bit. Again, it relates back to words, but it's not just the word that has the power. If I say yes when I mean no, it has no power. And if I say no when I mean yes, it has no power. It might have a little bit. It's confusing because it's not the truth, and ultimately, therefore, doesn't get you to what is real. Yeah, you can accidentally curse other people or yourself if you try to do something that you don't really want to do. Resentment is kind of like, it's a huge problem. Like whenever you feel resentment towards someone, generally speaking, then you're probably cursing them. So as much as you can curse yourself accidentally, and a lot of us do on a daily basis, it's honestly taken me years, and I still catch myself now and then. I say something and I'm like, I am not that. Why did I say that? The thing that changed it for me in the very beginning was hearing someone say, you know, you should not say things about yourself that you wouldn't say to your friends. So when, like, I hear girls say, they look in the mirror and they're like, oh, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, I'm just disgusting. I am guilty of this now and then, but when I can't tell you how aware I am of it now, that it will rarely come out of my mouth. What is more likely to come out of my mouth is, yes, you look fit, and I love what is going on here, because I'm just obsessed with myself now. No, I'm not obsessed with myself. I think that would be unhealthy. I just really love and appreciate myself, regardless of the color, shape, size, whatever it is. Like, I'm still amazing if I look like this. And everyone else is as well, and everyone should celebrate their differences. Everyone could, I don't like the word should, everyone could celebrate their differences. Should is like, oh, you should. Could is like, oh, you could, you know. Subtle. Energy is subtle. Language is not subtle, it's very specific. The energy behind it is subtle. So check yourself before you wreck yourself is really solid advice, but not from me, because I don't like to give advice. Because you know why? Because when you give advice, you have to believe that you know better. And when you take advice, you have to believe that they know better. So for me, advice is also a way that you can curse and be cursed. When you're giving advice, usually it's what you need to hear, or what you needed to hear at a specific time that you are relating whatever this person is saying to you to. Your whole life is actually yours. You should know that if you don't already. Your whole life is yours, and it is happening to you, for you, around you, within you. If you just surrender to what is, it's like a free falling feeling sometimes, or just like very floaty. And I love to do it now and then. In the beginning it was weird and uncomfortable, and I just like can do it for like a millisecond, and then I could do it for a second, and then I could do it for a few seconds. And now, oh my God, I can just, I mean, I have a lot to say now, so I'm not really surrendering, I'm talking. But I can just honestly like lay on my bed with the dog and listen to the wind or the traffic or the rain or the birds or just whatever it is, without any judgment or labeling of the sounds. I can just be so amazing. Like, the world is, there's so many sounds to hear all the time, even in the silence, and we just don't so much. This life is, it's so beautiful and just terrible and wonderful. Stupendous. I'm obsessed with cool words like that, like astonishing. You must be, if you're not astonished by the outside, I am astonished. All right, I guess there's not really much more to say about it, really, before I just start talking irrelevant shit. So be careful what you say after I am. Please be careful with that. And what you say about people, especially when someone's not there. Watch yourself. If you're talking about people behind their back, what goes around comes around, baby. Especially if they're your friends and you're talking about them when they're not there, then I think you need to have a little think about how you would like it. Really seriously think about how would you like it. Because you wouldn't. Nobody likes it, so stop doing it. What goes around comes around. you know, Justin Timberlake, he knew. What goes around, goes around. Okay, all right. Have a lovely life. Goodbye.